G'day, Michael Young here. This week I'm back in the home office and want to talk about setting goals. What we find is that when we deal with lots of different business owners, strangely enough, we find that many of them don't actually have any business goals. What they do is they tend to sort of just meander on and basically go about their daily and weekly and annual lives, and they really don't have any purpose or direction in where they're going or what they're doing. Yes, they're busily running their business, but what happens is they get to the end of the year and they find that whilst they've had a very busy year, they haven't really made any improvements, made any changes, or got to where they got to. Now, it's really important that when you go and look at the research and go and look at a lot of the writings of various business gurus, what they talk about is the fact that you really need to set some goals. And if we set some goals, it allows us to, create a future vision as to where we want to go. Quite often it gets us to think about where we want to be in, say, 3 years' time or 12 months' time. And then by having that sort of end in mind, it allows us then to work back from there to determine, well, what do we need to do this quarter or even this month or possibly even this week. And so it's really important that we identify our goals. We identify not only business goals but also personal goals to make sure that we are fully engaged with our families, not just fully engaged with our business. Now, when it comes to setting goals, as I mentioned a moment ago, we ideally want to set goals in a few different ways. Firstly, we want to think about where we want to be in, say, 3 or 5 years' time. That gives us that sort of medium to long-term view. We want to think about where we want to be at the end of this year. And we also want to break that down into quarterly and monthly goals as well. And so that way we can sort of keep track of where we're going, but we can also sort of work out what are the key milestones we need to achieve that sort of 12-month or 3 or 5 year goal. This time of year is a really good time to do that as we roll into July, past the end of the financial year. Depending on the industry we're in, quite often what we can find is that there's a bit of a dip in activity and sales in July, and that gives us a bit more thinking time, gives us the opportunity to consider where we want to be over the next 12 months or so, and so we can then start to break down that plan. Now, when it comes to writing goals, what I also find is that there's a lot of people have a bit of a hit and miss approach. Quite often they write this sort of generic wish statement, and if you think about goals that people commonly set, we get to January 1st, we set a New Year's resolution, and that New Year's resolution is usually something like, I want to lose weight. Well, the problem with a goal like this is that it's almost like a wish or a hope. Yes, I hope I can lose weight, or I wish I could lose weight, but there's not really anything in there that helps us to be focused and work towards achieving that particular objective. And so what we really want to do is use and create SMART objectives. That's where we create a specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and a time-based goal. And so using our example of losing weight, what we want to do is we want to lose 7 kilos, so it's specific. 7 kilos probably is realistic. It's probably achievable as well, so we can tick those boxes off. It's certainly measurable. We can actually jump on the scales, measure our before and measure our after, and so we can see that losing 7 kilos is something that we're on track to achieving. And we need to be very specific around some sort of time basis, time element. And so what we want to do is to lose 7 kilos by the 1st of December. And so once again, that gives us a bit of a time element there as well. Now, the other missing part with goal setting quite often is that it's not actually tied to any reason or any particular purpose. And so whilst we might have a SMART goal of losing 7 kilos by the 1st of December, the problem that has, though, is that there's no real reason to actually motivate us or incentivize us or whatever. Now, it may well be that we really need to unpack and think about, well, why do we want to lose that weight? Why are we trying to achieve that goal? Now, it may well be that we want to lose 7 kilos by the 1st of December because, i.e. the why, because we want to be able to play sport with our son, and at the moment we're carrying too much weight and we're not particularly fit. Okay, so there's a reason to do that. And if we can link the reason to the goal, we find that can quite often be what motivates us. And so as we're doing our workouts, as we're changing our diet, as we're working towards losing that 7 kilos, what we are thinking about in the back of our mind is that we're doing this so that we can play sport with our son. It may well be that there's another drive or another reason, or maybe there's multiple reasons. Maybe we want to play sport with our son, but maybe we also have bad knees, and losing some extra weight is going to take the pressure off our knees, and that's what's been holding us back from playing sport with our son already. And so once again, we have to lose 7 kilos by the 1st of December because that's going to take the pressure off our knees, which means that we can actually run, we can enjoy the sport, we're going to probably be fitter as well. And so those things help us to be able to achieve our goal of playing sport with our son. So that's it from me for this week. But what the challenge is for each of you is to go away and spend some time to think about, well, where do you want to be in 3 years? Where do you want to be in 12 months, both personally and from a business perspective? And then break that down into quarterly goals. Where do you want to be at the end of the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and so on? And once you have that, you can then start to put in place a plan to work out how you're actually going to get there. So that's it for me this week. See you all again online next week. Cheers.